Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Electro Voice, makers of the RE20 microphone, the industry standard for broadcasters and now podcasters alike. Check them out at electrovoice.com.
Your music resonates with a lot of people. Your career is certainly a testament.
Well, now it doesn't to certain terrorist groups and people like that. I mean, I doubt if Bin Laden likes my stuff too much.
When are you going to break through to those markets?
I know.
Damn it, you failed. You failed global. Joining me today on the Culture Catch is a good friend of mine, Jim Lauderdale. Jim.
It's good to see you again.
Good to see you, man. Every time I turn around, man, you're either like nominated for Grammy, playing banjo gyms in New York, on the road with such and such, writing songs with Robert Hunter. This glamorous lifestyle.
Well, you've got to stop turning around.
Damn it, I hate when that happens, man. I hate when that happens. No, actually, you've had a good year, haven't you?
It's been real good, yeah. And I just started writing with Robert Hunter again. And I'm real excited. The week before last, I've been in the studio a lot since I've talked to you with James Burton and Al Perkins and Ronnie Tutt and Glendy Hardin and Gary Talent on bass.
Right.
And so we've laid down a bunch of stuff for a future record. But then since I've been writing with Robert, we laid down 5 songs of that. So that's real interesting to record it with those guys, who's like a dream band for me.
And playing his music.
And playing stuff, like
it's a little bit more.
Some of it's countryish, and then some of it's a little more out there. So it's interesting working with those guys in that context, and they sound great.
Now, when you do something like that, and is Hunter in with you? Does he ever sit in the sessions?
No, he. When he came to Nashville several years ago, and we wrote a lot, and he just came by. I laid down some real crude guitar vocals, and he was there and offered some, suggestions with phrasing and things like that. But then, like when I was in with Ralph Stanley doing that stuff, he wasn't able to be there, and then he wasn't there a few weeks ago. But I want to make sure, I have so much respect for Ralph. I want to make sure he's really happy with the music, and I would never,
Right. So do you send him tapes?
Yes.
Is he in the Bay Area still? Is that where he lives?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you'll send him tapes back, and he'll say, well,
yes.
Jim, I think you need to do this.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is he that kind of opinionated with your material, or does he,
Well, there was one song that I felt, and he had the same, but I didn't even mention it to him, but I think I recorded it a little too fast, and that was one thing he mentioned, and so I'm either going to, I guess I'll re-record the song,
Right. And to play with those guys, play with Elvis's guys and the storied career of those musicians. How did that happen? I mean, you've always had amazing players on your projects, starting with Buddy Miller and even before that, and Dusty Wakeman and all these guys.
Well, I'm actually here in Austin. I met James. That there was a Graham Parsons tribute a few summers ago that's on a DVD called Return to Sin City.
Right.
And Keith Richards is on there, and a bunch of folk, great, Lucinda, Steve Earle, John Doe, Jay Farrar. And so anyway, James came and played, so I met him then, and Al Perkins was playing, and I've worked a lot with Al. And then I ran into James at breakfast here in Austin last year.
Right.
And when we met, I said, gosh, I'd love to
Mutual
record with you,
admiration.
but I figured it was like I'd never get a chance. But then he said, well, I'm going to be in Nashville in a couple of weeks. So I booked something, and then we did several sessions. And as I do a lot of times, I'll write the music and record it without any lyrics or anything. So I did a bunch of those.
Really? And then you try to capture that vibe.
But I'll tell you, with those, the bar is so high because they're playing that it's a very slow process for me to do it. So that way, with the Robert Hunter stuff, it was just like boom.
Yeah.
It was refreshing for me to be able to go in and just.
Yeah, I know we're talking casually about this. People who are watching, Robert Hunter has written a lot of stuff wrote a lot of amazing music for the Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
And then this backup band you're working with. If you watch the tribute to Roy Orbison, all those guys are on that show basically.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I know Burton is, and I know that Ronnie Tutt was playing drums on that, and then of course Elvis Costello and everyone else. But these are the legends.
Yeah, they're
of, they move beyond country, beyond rock. There's so many different genres of music they can play, and so comfortably and creatively, I guess.
Yeah, they're real masters.
And your songwriting is able to move from different camps as well. I mean, you can write the hardcore country stuff. You can write the roots rock stuff. You're able to. It must be an interesting.
I like that kind of stuff, and it's good to work with these masters like Ralph Stanley and Robert and James and Al, and it kind of goes into our Tai Chi thing, and we've both gotten to work with some masters, so it's really inspiring.
Yeah, I think it's great, too, that this style of music is ageless. So you can continue to play it, and these guys can continue to play it into their 70s and 80s. I mean, how old's Ralph now?
Ralph is 80.
Yeah. You guys, that record was nominated for Grammy, what, 4 years ago?
2000. Well, there was one nomination, I think, in '99, and then we got it in 2003.
Right.
And then, yes. And
so that's right. That's the day I ran into you on the street. You were in your tux.
Oh, yeah. and by the way, I produced a record for Ralph's bass player that's just come out. His name's Jack Cook.
Okay.
And it's his first record, his first solo record.
How old?
He's in his 70s.
And his first record.
His first solo record. And he used to play with Bill Monroe back in the early 60s. And he kind of got Del McCoury started. Got Del the gig with Bill. And Del's on the record, and David Grisman.
We had Del on last year. He's so great, man.
Talk about masters.
Oh, my God. Really, and his sons.
Yeah.
Talented.
Yeah.
Can those guys play a little bit?
I like to cut up with those guys every time I run into those guys, like if we're at a festival or something and they're standing around, and then I see them and I go, "Hey, good to see you. I'm glad you came to the show. And where you guys are from Canada, right? Yeah, you come to all my stuff. It's good to see you." But they've got real good senses of humor.
Yeah, no, they do. And Del's good. He's a good storyteller, man. He told some good stories.
He's such a, nice guys sometimes do finish first. He's really a great guy.
And his career arc is, it was like, and then finally.
Yeah.
And now he's one of the, he's the heir to that legacy.
Yes, he really is.
He did a great version of 52 Vincent, the Richard Thompson song that just,
Yeah, he's doing some really cool material.
Nashville Cats, you've heard that. That's fun. That's a fun cover.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're working with Down at the Buffalo again?
I'm going to try to get them on a song.
Because you did that Charlie Hunter thing. Didn't he write?
Robert, we did
Hunter,
one song we on that record. They're on one tune.
Right.
And I whenever I can't, like this next weekend in Florida at Live Oak, Florida, we'll be at a festival together. So we'll do a set.
Right.
At Merle Fest, we'll do a set.
Right.
And I'm going to try to write something with Robert that they can be on this record.
Cool.
And we've talked about doing a whole nother record again too. So,
yeah. And what's your experience going into a project like that? Is there any leap of faith for you at all?
Yes, and it's just blind. It's kind of writing under pressure. I'm getting ready to do a bluegrass record, and I have a self-imposed deadline, so I've got to crank it out and have it be good. And
I don't think people understand, Jim, the Nashville mindset to songwriting. It is like production line.
Yes.
You go
sometimes.
down. Sometimes, I mean, you're not one of those guys that was in that camp, and there are a lot of guys that are writing hit records. You've written a lot of hit records, but not like some of those guys go to work every day.
Yes.
10 in the morning, and they're writing with partners. And
and it's funny because you have to combine the output with quality and heart and feeling and everything, so it's kind of a
you just can't throw couplets out there and go,
no.
"Oh, that's a good."
No,
that's one I haven't heard before.
Or you can't, just do something. And it's like, well, okay, here's 5 songs, and get, there has to be something in a song. And I'm sure we've both heard songs on the radio where we've thought, "Hey, wait a minute, this thing isn't very good," but as long as it touches somebody somehow.
Well, country music is different today too.
It is.
And I think you always have those peaks and valleys where maybe we look back and the stuff that we think maybe isn't country or cheesy or whatever it may be, it resonates in 10 years. I don't know.
Or millions of people, you know,
Yeah.
it's...
Who's to say?
Yeah.